Welcome to the Real Estate Show. This is Narayan, and today we have Budget 2020. What reform should boost the real estate sector is what we are all going to talk about. One thing is for sure, real estate sector is a single sector which determines the health of an economy in any developing country. It is a benchmark which determines the growth of a developing country. It is the second largest employer in our country today. Directly or indirectly, this sector accounts to 10% of the total GDP. These statistics clearly indicates that the industry needs picking up. Let's discuss what steps should be taken by the government to ensure that the sentiments can improve for investment in the real estate sector. For the real estate sector, the year gone by was marked by a dichotomies, wherein the commercial leasing and transaction continues to exhibit growth and hectic activities. The residential sector remained marred in a relatively gloomy in terms of the volume and the sentiments. The commercial leasing exhibit a strong trend with gross leasing in the top 7 cities mounting to a total volume of 59 million square foot. This is a historic high figure for India and following the high gross leasing trend of 50 million square foot in 2018. On the other hand, the residential sale in the top 7 cities in 2019 stood at only 261,000 unit against 241,000 unit in 2018. The unsold inventory in these cities was over 6 lakh unit. The sale achieved in 2019 and 18 was brought about by a high demand for affordable housing. We all have to understand that affordable housing will not get this sector back. You have to have the middle class to buy houses. The government has to focus on getting the mid segment back on buying houses. The dichotomy lies in the fact that robust leasing could indicate a strong leasing activities by the companies, which in turn would indicate a strong job numbers, which in turn should have resulted in a strong residential and leasing or sale segment in that. But residential sale continues to lack given the negative sentiment brought by delayed project, continuing viewing of the non-banking and financial companies, which is NBFCs. Home buyers too deferred to purchase and prefer to rent out rather than buying houses. Banks too were keen on resolving strict loan rather than lending fresh or stuck projects. The past year saw the government take series of steps to help improve the sentiment, revive the demand. These include enhancing the limits of loan under the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, increase the deduction available for the interest and the principal repayment on the home loans for housing units, trying to inject liquidity for NBFCs through Reserve Bank of India, and finally getting up to 25,000 crores last mile funding for stuck projects through SBI caps. This has proved to be a sentiment booster, with SBI caps being flooded with applications from developers, and we expect to see the first few disbursement in the last quarter of this financial year. Now, what can the Budget 2020 do? First and foremost, it is important to address the sentiment. This can happen if the home buyer decide to postpone and not to postpone the home buying and have the confidence to make a decision in the current scenario. Now, as for the price, the last few years have seen a substantial price correction. Price increase has been muted, if not stagnant, and considering average inflation of around 5% over the last 3 years, price have actually corrected 15 to 30% for the mid and high levels units. This holds true to all market across. So why is it that home buyers are not willing to take the plunge? The government can ensure potential buyers to take the step forward by giving them substantial principal and interest waiver set off in income tax for a limited period of time against the current limit of 1.5 lakhs for the affordable housing announced in budget 2019. The government should consider a higher exemption limit, let's say 7.5 lakh for all home buyers who buy homes during the financial year of 2021. Now let's look on the other issues. One, the industrial status and single window clearance. The real estate industry have been asking for the industrial status for a very long time. Affordable housing segment witnessed a boost after being awarded infrastructure status. We believe that granting of similar status to the entire real estate sector will encourage real estate activities and help in getting investment in this sector, which is also an urgent need. This together, a single window clearance will work good to the sector in totality. Our next is effective real estate stress fund. Now, the government has announced a real estate stress fund of 25,000 crores. Just announcing does not matter. This needs to be executed timely and in a professional way and in a manner that this trickle down to the grassroots. Budget can be allowed for financial institutes to increase the liquidity in the banking system, previously allowing, actually precisely allowing the funds have also reached the ground level. Announcing will not change the scenario. Only practical solutions can bring the change to the market. Financial institutes should also extend grace period for stuck projects to support the market. This can only be done through government mechanism and government institutions. We are still far off from any light of day in the stress fund. To improve consumer confidence, our next is we got to improve the consumer confidence. Owing to few errant developers, the entire real estate sector is facing a crisis of confidence from home buyer. The State Bank of India recent home loan scheme on giving guarantees to the home buyer with respect to their real estate investment is a great way of boosting consumer confidence. These are home buyers. There are home buyers in the market who are ready to invest with reputed builders, and the government should introduce more ways to boost these confidence in the market itself. Our next is generate cash flow. To generate cash flow for the developers, it is clear that while the stress fund may be a booster, but it only addresses small portion of stuck projects. The rest would only be addressed by the banks and the NBFCs. In order to push the bank into lending for real estate projects, the government should consider relaxing the risk weightage norms for which real estate lending itself, so that the bank can earmark a higher percentage of funds for the real estate projects. They could also allow one-time opportunity to the banks to take over and restructure the stuck projects with loans on them. Our next is incentive for affordable housing. should be area based. Now, what I mean by that is, to boost the housing for all by 2020 mission, the government had announced an incentive of 1.5 lakh for investment in affordable housing projects under 45 lakhs. This sounds great initiative. Very few people look at investment in affordable housing in tier 1 cities. Can take advantage of this norm. Affordable housing should be classified price wise or an area wise. People who wants to invest in affordable housing in prime area will never be able to avail of these benefits. Hence, it will be in the interest of the home buyer to change this incentive from a price base to an area base, so that more home buyers in the affordable segment can avail for this benefit. Our next is ease of doing business. Easy policy will enable ease of business and thereby attracting investment into real estate. There should be simpler procedure for foreign direct investment in real estate projects. Interest and tax subsidies for timely completion of projects are much needed. Also, there should be established credit rating for developers in the project who does well and complete project in time. Now, these are the few steps that budget 2020 is expecting from the government, and we hope this time that the government does take step to ensure that the 2020 and 2021 becomes a success for the real estate sector, and if the success of the real estate sector would actually determine the graph and the growth of India. Well, thank you for today. I will see you soon. Post budget, we will analyze what the government has been really wanting to do. Thank you very much. See you soon.